This series is dedicated to our children, because when I'm dead and gone, these videos will live on. Long live Langston. My mother and my father met each other in Tompkins Projects. There, they had me. Make the long story short, my moms and my father didn't get along, and my mother became a single parent. And as far as I can remember, we stayed in Flatlands, and the address was 39 Lot Place. I went to a school called Pt.1. My mother actually worked for Paramount Pictures in Manhattan. So, in the morning, she would leave early to catch the bus and train to Manhattan. And I would get up and, stop at the bodega and play video games, arcade games such as Frogger, Jungle Hunt, Donkey Kong Jr., Miss Pac-Man. And living in Brooklyn, New York, it was just a beautiful thing, man. It was all types of people. Living in New York, period, was a beautiful thing. I remember field trips, going to the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building. And it was just nothing like it, man. I had a brother, which was my god brother, named Jamar. He would come by and we would play. I had all types of toys. My mother just made sure that I had everything. I had Rodan, Godzilla. I had every toy that was out. I remember on my wall, I had on Star Trek, the spaceship, I had a big poster of it on my wall. Because, when movies came out, my mom's, got the posters and all of the merchandise. And she would give it to me. I remember Saturdays, me and Jamar, because he would spend the night on the weekends, almost every weekend. Me and Jamar, we would sit down and watch cartoons like Hong Kong Phooey, Fat Albert. Conjunction Junction would show function. And it was just a beautiful time. My mom's at that time wasn't that religious. So she would play, Marvin Gaye, Patti LaBelle, Luther Vandross, Bob Marley, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And it was just a beautiful time, And then, I don't know what happened, but, I know what happened. My mom's got pregnant with my sister, and she felt, like we needed a bigger place. Because at 39 Lot Place, we actually stayed in the basement of a West Indian family. Now, the basement, we had our own door. We had kitchen and all of that stuff, but it was tight, So we wind up moving further up Kings Highway to, I forgot the address, but I know the name of the street, Preston Court. Now, Preston Court, when we moved there, that's when things started getting a little difficult. Because we stayed like right next to a junkyard. It's kind of like a junkyard, cars and stuff like that. And, of course, you got junk and all the rest of that. Mice and roaches are going to come. So we moved into a house, and it was upstairs and downstairs. I had my room. My sister had hers because, my mom, she wound up having my sister. And, my mother had her room along with my sister's father, which, his name was Bo. And things were like kind of hectic. It started getting a little hectic then. We would have mice. I would be, I would wake up and screaming and hollering because mice would crawl over me. It was just messed up, man. But Jamal would come over for the weekends, and he would put me on the game. He was like my older brother, so he would show me how to lace up my Adidas or my Pumas, with fat laces. He taught me style and everything. I remember, he had everything. He had Ninja Stars. He's the one that had the four the what is it? The four rings, four finger rings, with his name across it. I mean, he was just like like a street kid. His mom's let him go out and do what he wanted to do. So, he put me on the game. And, like I said, things started getting a little hectic. So I was eager at the time to start going down south to visit my grandfather, my grandmother. And once I got down south, I started to see a different type of lifestyle where black people owned houses and it was trees and grass and it wasn't no trains and loud noises and a bunch of people and a bunch of cars. And I was like, wow. Late at night, I would hear crickets and I'm like, I'm not used to this. I'm seeing lightning bugs. I just wasn't used to it. But I knew that I liked it. I knew that I liked it. I knew that I liked nature more than I liked the hustle and bustle of New York. So, make the long story short, my grandfather passed away, and my mom's asked me that I wanted to move down there because things wasn't working out right in Preston Court. Bo started smoking weed and drinking, and he got fired from Transit MTA. He had a pretty good, decent job driving the train, but he got fired. I think they drug tested him or something like that, and he got fired. And it's like, I was ready to go because Bo had put his hands on me before. Like he whooped my butt. So I ain't even really like him. And then it would be times where he would get weed, and I would have to go with him to get the weed. And these are the things that my moms don't even know till this day. Like, she don't even know that Bo gave me some reefer. We used to call it, back in the days, we call it reefer. And I'll never forget, I was watching WWF, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. And Jake the Snake had jumped in, and they started jumping on Andre the Giant or something like that. And Bo, as usual, he pulling the weed, because he old school, so he rolling it in, regular paper. Rolling paper and easy widers. So he's rolling his joint up and smoking it, and he got his Heineken and he's drinking and everything, and then he all of a sudden says, "Hey, do you want some?" And I was like, well, I guess this is something normal. This is something that I'm supposed to do. So hey, pass it on. So I wound up pulling it and coughing. He was like, "No, you can't do it like that." So he showed me, and I pulled it the right way, and then I started nodding off and laughing, and he was looking at me like, just like bugging out, like he was laughing at me. So I was just ready to go. I was amped to go. Like, I'm tired of mice. I'm tired of the roaches. I'm tired of Bo. I'm tired of this house. I'm just tired of everything. And then, like, I forgot to tell you, I had to transfer school. So I went from PS119 to PS208. And all my friends were at PS119. I didn't have nobody in PS208. So I was ready to go. So my uncle, which is, of course, my mother's brother, came up from Durham, North Carolina, in the U-Haul, packed all our stuff up. My mother didn't tell my father, that we were leaving. We just left in the middle of the night. We get down south, and I had to go to the school called Pearson Town. Now, Pearson Town, of course, I'm a kid from New York. I'm a new kid. I have an accent. Really nobody's really messing with me. So it was a horrible situation down there, as far as going to school. And then eventually, you know what happened. We were living with my grandmother in that big, nice sized house that she has, but she winds up, remarrying. So we had to leave. When we left, we moved over to a side of town that I've never seen before when I lived in Durham. When I visited in Durham for the summers. Now, taking heed, I wanted to leave New York because when I went to my grandmother's house and I played in that area, that's what I thought the South was. Lo and behold, I was on a good side. Now, we on the bad side. So I'm living in the West End, and I'm going to the school called Rogers Her, and I'm seeing this dude getting his face busted open with a chain. Like, dudes is hitting him with a chain, like a big steel chain. I'm on the bus, and in the back of the bus, dudes is smoking weed. I'm riding the bus one day. This dude is eating this chick out on the bus. I'm not lying about none of this. And it just bugged me out because this was not the South that I wanted. But of course, my mom's is a single parent. She can't afford to stay in Hope Valley where my grandmother lives at. She can only afford to stay in the West End. Like, we were right in the middle of the West End and South Side. Now, those that are from Durham, North Carolina know what I'm talking about. And the South Side and the West End, they used to war with one another. So we kind of like in the middle of that. That's where we living at. So, fast forward, I wound up getting in contact with my father. And, I cursed him out and everything, told him he was a piece of shit, blah, 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 right? Make a long story short, I started going up to New York for the summers. And the summers in New York, woohoo, beautiful, man. My father had remarried, because he actually was married to my mother. He remarried this Jamaican lady called Maxine, my stepmom's, and they moved out to Jamaica, Queens, and it was beautiful, man. My stepmom's, Maxine, she worked at this place called Amboy. And Amboy, if I'm not mistaken, was in Brownsville, and they would block off the streets for the summer. And there was recreational games and things for children to do. That summer, what was it? Dougie Fresh, Banana Freak of the Week. That came out. I mean, it was just a very exciting time, man. Like, the summers in New York was just amazing. I remember I was part of PAL, Police Athletic League, and we went to Coney Island, and I was into I was into running, so we was getting gold medals and stuff like that. It was just it was amazing time, man. And when I would come back from New York, I would come back with clothes and everything was up to date. I remember when I came to school in Rogers Her, I had the New York sweatsuit. Anybody that's from New York and that's like kind of old school, knows about the New York sweatsuit. You had the New York joint printed right here on the front part, and then on the side of the leg you had New York. I came in there box fade fresh and all. Oh, I was starting. I had all the latest gear. And people used to be like, man, where did you get that from? But all my clothes, I would get from New York. And one day I just sat down with my moms and I was like, yo, man, I don't like this. I don't like being here. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to move back to New York. Now, of course, my mom's has custody of me, and you know what she said? No. And it broke my heart, man. It broke my heart. So I went up for one summer, and I stayed with my great-grandmother. And she stayed in a brownstone. And, things was all right with her. She's older, so, at that time, Swatch watches were out. I wanted a Swatch watch. And I wanted some Pumas, and I already saw it down in downtown Brooklyn, because, we would go down there to shop. And I was like, yo, Grandma, can I get this, da-da-da-da-da? She was like, well, you can get this, but you gotta put this puzzle together. And the puzzle was like 1,500 pieces. I'm like, God, yo, man, forget this. But anyway, to make a long story short, I'm up there, and my mom's gets in contact with Nisi. Nisi is my godmother, which is Jamar's mother. They find out that I'm in New York. So my mom's is like, yo, do you want to go chill with Jamar for the summer? I'm like, yes. So I get over to Jamar's house. Oh my God. Yo. So, Nintendo had came out at that time, so we was playing Super Mario Brothers. We staying up all night. We watching the Terminator. We watching all types of movies. At that time, it was the beta tapes, but they switched over to VHS. And Niecy had it all, and we just had a blast. At night, Jamal would be like, "Yo, you want to come with us, and we gonna tag, trains. We gonna bomb trains." And I was like, "You know what? I ain't trying to do that," because he told me one time when they got caught, the cops would beat them up. So I was like, "Nah, I ain't having that. I ain't doing that." But we would be just getting everything. One night, Jamal decided. So he was staying on like the 5th floor. Jamal decided like, "Yo, man, let's start throwing eggs at people." So we throwing eggs at people, bow, hitting them in the head, and then just bending down, from the window so they won't know that it's us. So I pick up an egg, and it's this dude walking past. Bow, I hit him. And he's like, "What the bumper clot, man? We're gonna shoot up." And Jamal was like, "Yo, what is your problem? Yo, you don't mess with those Jamaicans, man. They got machetes, they will shoot you. You don't mess with them." And I was like, all right. So the next day, we go outside, and these 2 chicks wound up getting in a fight, and they putting Vaseline all over their face, and they got blades. And man, it was just so much stuff going on. The cops came, and that summer was a very exciting summer. So I get back, to Durham, North Carolina, and I'm just done. I'm about to go to high school, and I'm just done. I'm done with the whole South thing. I don't want to do it. I'm ready to go back to New York, right? And my mom's winds up getting a call, and so when I went to go see Jamal, it would be times where he would leave for a couple of days to go back to Tompkins Projects, because that's where, our families were from. While in the midst of him going back to Tompkins Projects, he would leave his mom's there. His mom's had a boyfriend. Lo and behold, her boyfriend was a crackhead. So my mom's got the call that Niecy got stabbed 77 times by her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was trying to take the VHS and the VHS, movies to get some crack, and he wound up stabbing her 77 times. And Jamal wasn't there to help, his moms. I'm gonna end it there. May Niecy rest in peace. Stay tuned for part 2.